Today is the day American patriots start taking down names and kicking ass.
We fight like hell, and if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
If you impeach him, civil war is on, buddy.
Everything that guy just says, bullshit.
You're listening to Facts and Friends. Welcome to this You Can't Fucking Call for Unity, the week after you try to overturn the results of a free and fair election episode of the Facts and Friends podcast.
Yeah, title's kind of long.
But correct.
Sure, except they did.
My name is Tino, and joining me this week is my friend and co-host. Most of you know him as the man behind the fur hat and face paint, Chewbacca himself, Judson. Hello, Judson.
Yeah, I can't pull that off, man.
No, you don't have the pecs for it.
I do not. That is true.
Or the crazy, or the bloodlust.
Was he bloodthirst? I guess he'd have a spear, didn't he?
He had a spear. He wrote that note, we're coming for you.
Oh, right.
And I don't know if you saw the footage from inside the Capitol that I think came out today, Sunday, but it was intense, and there was a lot of it of him.
I have not seen it yet, so I need to look at
that. It was pretty disturbing. But Trump was impeached, just as we were positive he would be.
Indeed he was.
But do you think he's going to be convicted?
No.
Yeah, I don't either.
I mean, he should be, just as he should have been the first time. But
does impeaching him and then acquitting him a second time, does that play into the narrative that it's a witch hunt and he was acquitted twice and therefore he was wrongfully impeached?
I mean, it'll play into a lot of narratives, I think. That certainly could be one of them. I think it'll also play into, from our point of view, it's going to just show how utterly craven and awful the current GOP is. It's not just Trump that's the problem. It's all of these enablers.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk a lot about those enablers in the show today.
Right.
We have a dear segment returning for for the feature of the show. But let's start by looking at some of those Republicans that are calling now suddenly for unity during the impeachment.
Yeah, fuck all of them. Every last one.
Well, we'll have a listen. And this is
fuck them all.
This is all stars. This is like Madison Cawthorn,
Nazi,
Kevin McCarthy.
Yeah.
Have a listen.
A vote to impeach will further fan the flames of partisan division.
We should be focused on bringing the nation together. Instead, Democrats are going to impeach the president for a second time.
Today is a moment for members of Congress to put aside partisan politicking and place people over power.
I'm increasingly concerned the Democrats are drafting articles of impeachment to further divide America.
All of us must resist the temptation of further polarization.
Let's link arms with one another and begin to heal.
I urge that we all vote to finally put America first.
Unity is not an option. It's a necessity.
Fuck them all.
Yeah, I think I heard Jim Jordan in there.
You definitely heard Jim fucking Jordan.
He was clapping and saying good job whenever any of them stood up and gave a particularly like incendiary, inflammatory, disgusting speech. Like
I think you mean unity, Tino. You meant unity.
Well, this is the same people, more or less, the week before.
Americans instinctively know there was something wrong with this election.
President Trump won this election, so everyone who's listening, do not be quiet. Do not be silent about this.
The ruling would be that you got to go to the streets and be as violent as Antifa and BLM.
Republicans will not back down. We will not wait to 4 years from now to change this. We are going to fight this now.
Get on the phone, call your congressman, and feel free. You can lightly threaten them.
This is our 1776 moment.
And I've got a message that I need you to take to your heart and take back home, and along the way, stop at the Capitol.
If you don't start supporting election integrity, I'm coming after you, Madison Cawthorn's coming after you, everybody's coming after you.
The swamp isn't truly drained until we've nailed the hides of the alligators to the wall.
Today is the day American patriots start taking down names and kicking ass.
Feeling unified yet?
Thank you, Anderson.
I was going to say that, AC, but thank you.
They weren't all the same people, but there was a lot of crossover.
The unity thing is a cover to prevent accountability. That's all it is.
Absolutely.
There can be no unity and healing without actual accountability. It seems to me that the most disunifying thing that you could possibly do is to attempt to overthrow the government of the country.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we're not just going to forget about that because you say unity a half a dozen times.
And you had Lindsey Graham today.
Yeah.
Basically saying, Joe Biden's going to have the most radical agenda of the first 100 days. How is that unifying?
It's not. It's unity for Democrats. It's not unity for the GOP and never has been.
No, they're not remotely interested in unity. They're interested in expanding and preserving their power. Yep. That's it. The end.
I did like how Madison Cawthorn's going to come after you, and I couldn't help but think to myself, like, I mean, okay, but the guy's in a wheelchair. I think I can outrun him.
I let him catch me.
The Nazi?
Maybe I shouldn't let the Nazi catch me. Well, he's a very handsome Nazi in a wheelchair.
Sure, he's attractive.
On the outside.
Yeah.
It's a Dorian Gray thing, for sure.
Yeah.
So we mentioned last week that we would try to name names of the domestic terrorists, treasonous traitors that attacked the Capitol anytime new ones came up.
Right, yep.
So here's a few more.
CNN has learned that authorities have arrested the man seen in this picture here carrying a Confederate flag through the halls of the Capitol during last week's riot. He has been identified as Kevin Seafried of Delaware. And in the meantime, police have also arrested a man accused of striking a U.S. Capitol police officer with a fire extinguisher during the January 6th riots. The criminal complaint identifies the man in this video as Robert Sanford, and he is a retired Chester, Pennsylvania firefighter. In this, Sanford is seen wearing a dark plaid shirt and a backpack, and he picks up what appears to be a fire extinguisher off the ground. Then moments later, he throws it at a group of police officers who are nearby. It hits one of the officers square in the back of their helmet with such force that it actually bounces off the helmet and over other officers standing near him.
The fire extinguishers don't usually bounce.
No, not so much.
So despicable terrorists, and this one's worse.
Federal prosecutors charging Peter Francis Staker, saying that he is the man seen in that video beating a police officer with the American flag. Roughly 30 minutes later, according to the timestamp on the videos, prosecutors say he tells the Telegraph this.
Everybody in there is a disgrace.
It's a disgrace.
That entire building is filled with treasonous traitors.
Yes, sir.
Death is the only remedy for what's in that building.
And this is what we're up against.
Yep.
And this is why I'm terrified, frankly, about what may happen in the next few days.
Yep. And this is what the lies since November have been perpetuating. These people who believe crazy shit have been emboldened and encouraged to come out here. Axios has a piece out today that is talking about basically behind the scenes. Trump knew he lost. Absolutely knew. He led Sidney Powell and his other crazy people on his staff, on his team. He used them to engender this manic support for this election fraud story that he was pushing as a way to preserve his image.
Yeah, I feel like he kind of knew exactly what he was doing. Like, look, he's not the smartest guy, but
he's not.
They clearly wanted those people to attack the Capitol. That seemed to be part of their plan. When you listen back to the things that they were saying, we played some of those clips last week. We don't need to play them again.
Right.
I feel like he's even more complicit than I originally thought. It wasn't just a happy accident.
Oh, no, it definitely was not.
He wanted this. And, a friend of ours last week I guess he was having a disagreement with someone that he knew about, how is it possible that Trump could, on one hand, incite the crowd at his rally to attack and also have it be pre-planned, but those two things are not mutually exclusive.
No, definitely not.
I mean, there were certainly people there that no matter what Trump had said we're going to attack the Capitol.
People were there to hear the speech where he further incited them because he incited them in the first place to come to DC on the 6th.
Exactly. So I suspect there were also people most likely in that crowd who had not necessarily come planning to attack the Capitol, who were incited to go along with those that had.
Yep.
Now you have people who think that the election was stolen. They absolutely believe the election was stolen. And if they really believe that deep down to their core, then yeah, they're going to fight.
Some of them are going to do some really awful things.
To the death.
In service of a lie.
They think the country's been stolen from them. And there are still hundreds of Republicans who won't back off that. If Trump really wanted unity, if they really wanted unity and peace, they would all say, Trump included, this was a free and fair election and Trump lost. And he could save faces if he wanted and say he got bad information, whatever. He doesn't have to say that he lied, even though he totally lied.
Totally lied. Absolutely lied.
But he he could weasel out of it for the good of the country, and he won't.
He won't, because it's not
absolutely will not,
because it doesn't serve his purposes.
This country is going to burn. I mean, we are civil war is almost inevitable, I think, at this point.
Yeah, I hope you're wrong there, but I don't know that you are. So
I don't think I am.
Yeah.
So there's one last name we're going to name. We didn't remember his name last week, and he has more names than the one that's in the show notes, but we're going to go with the one in the show notes. Jake Angeli. That is the person I accuse you of being at the top of the show.
Yeah, the Q-Shaman.
The quote-unquote Q-Shaman. He is a bucket of crazy. He's the guy with the painted face and the animal fur hat and cowl, I guess.
Right.
Well, he is... last week, I opined that he was trying to decide between being a radical terrorist and a furry, and tried something in between. But I feel like I should have also added like drunk college football fan, because the face paint, it doesn't really fit the rest of the outfit, to be honest. It's just kind of random.
I mean, no one said they were like fashion geniuses here. I mean, someone found the pants that he's wearing as a Halloween costume for like a bad Native American Halloween costume.
Wow.
You can buy them yourself for like $30.
Well, he's in jail.
He is.
And he was on a hunger strike.
His mom was very worried.
Was she?
Yeah.
Is his mama crazy too? Like,
I don't know. I don't know how crazy she is, but she was very concerned because he only eats organic food, as we covered last week. And they wouldn't give it to him. So like you said, he was on a hunger strike because he has to have his organic food.
Oh my God. He's one of those, he's like an embodiment almost of my sister in a way, where I'm sure he's been a conspiracy theorist. He may have been a left-wing person before. I honestly don't know. But I know there's some of these Q people who were at that insurrection that had voted for Obama before. But they were, that
was before they found out that he was a gay Martian who can teleport.
Right. But they were also conspiracy theorists and anti-vaxxers and whatnot. And so when COVID came and suddenly vaccination became an issue of the right.
Right, yeah.
That's when they kind of moved in that direction. And then there were all these wonderful conspiracy theories to whet their appetites.
You know, the people on the fringe have a lot more in common than you might think.
Yes.
On either sides of the fringe.
Yes, and a lot of them moved over to the far right because of vaccines and conspiracy theories. Because the GOP is now the party of conspiracy theories.
Oh, for sure.
So now they have a new home, and he's kind of one of the figureheads. I honestly had never heard of him until this Capitol riot.
No, nor had I. I had not looked at Q closely enough for that, the Q movement.
Well, you put some of his nicknames in here.
Yeah, which you used one, Cubaka.
I spoiled one because I liked it so much.
Cubaka was good. And then someone else called him Dances with Karens, which I thought was amusing.
He has mental health issues, clearly.
I mean,
it's been reported.
I don't see how that's,
doesn't forgive him.
No, exactly. It doesn't make him not culpable for his actions. Plenty of people have mental health issues out there and do not invade the Capitol or threaten people's lives.
No, he should get help.
He absolutely should get help.
He should be institutionalized. He has asked for a pardon, and many of the attackers have asked for pardons.
Yeah, I was actually kind of hoping they were slow playing the charges to get us past this wave of pardons. Trump's supposed to sign in excess of 100 pardons on Tuesday.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have plenty to talk about next week.
Yeah.
Do you think he is going to pardon some of these people?
I don't know. I think the calculating part of me says they don't give him anything. Pardoning them doesn't help him, and perhaps opens him up to charges after he leaves office.
Right.
But he knows that it'd be popular with the base to do so. So I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, like how does betraying them, how does that keep them on his side?
But how much does he need them on his side? I guess that's the calculation I can't make. He loves having them clap and cheer for him wherever he goes, whenever he has rallies. So it seems to me that he might pardon them because he wants that goodwill going forward from that group. But like I said, the calculating part of me says that doesn't track with, it doesn't give him anything tangible.
It's true. I'm not sure. I don't know. Like, I mean, wasn't there a blanket pardon for the Vietnam draft dodgers? They didn't have to name anyone.
That could be. I'm sure he could issue a blanket pardon. I don't.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm just not sure what he's going to do. But back to Jake and Jelly to sort of finish finish off.
You should phrasing.
We're gonna finish off Jake and Jelly because Jake and Jelly finished himself off.
So I gave you homework over the week.
And I did that homework and I did extra credit.
Oh, good.
The extra credit's not part of the show, but I did enjoy it. An OnlyFans model, Ilix1, I don't know if that's the model or if that's just the person sharing it, tweeted, it's a picture of someone that looks a lot like Jake and Jelly.
Right.
But isn't him. Dressed, with the face paint and the cowl and the shirtlessness and the tats. And the caption is, or the text is, who wants to see an insurrectionist take a fat dick? I'll be on at 11:45ish tonight.
Yep.
So, Ilix dressed up as Jake and Jelly, Q-Shaman, Chewbacca, and I did watch the video.
Apparently Dances with Kevins, I guess, would be more appropriate there.
Dances with dildos would be appropriate because that is the dance that he was performing in the video.
Right.
I was going to get audio, but there's no reason. It's just a guy bouncing up and down on a dildo, semi-hard, dressed like Jake and Jelly.
I mean, if that's your thing.
Apparently a lot of gay people got pissed off about it. They thought he was celebrating a domestic terrorist.
I could absolutely see how you might think that, but I think what they'd look at is how Jake and Jelly would view that, or how Trump would view that.
Right.
And there's probably nothing that they would find more horrifying than that image to them.
Well, if it hadn't been a dildo, and say like it had been Lindsey Graham.
I mean, there are ways you can make it worse. That's just true. You're not wrong. But that to me it's a bit like casting Melissa McCarthy as Sean Spicer. It was a great casting choice.
Right.
And it definitely really upset those guys.
Yeah, they're probably not going to hear about it though. I mean, they also did a porn satire of Donald Trump having sex with Melania, and they were both guys at a frat party. No, it was Ivanka, not Melania. Sorry.
Oh, Ivanka. Okay.
Yeah, and that didn't make national news. I don't know why.
Seems like a very important story. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, anyway, you can check that out at Ilix1, ILLUXX, if you'd like to see the video of it. It's not all that exciting. I think he could have done better.
Yeah. Okay. All I saw was the tweet, so I was hoping you'd have something more interesting.
It wasn't all that interesting.
Yes, that's too bad.
Yeah.
So I think he's just sort of like doing a quick, it's almost like a cash grab, then sort of playing off not the popularity, but off the notoriety of the character.
Well, I'm sure he got a lot more clicks dressed as that guy.
Absolutely. But it's a shame that he didn't do more with it. Yeah.
Maybe there are sequels in the works.
Could be. Well, Tino, you have your assignment then.
I'm going to stay on top of this story. Jake and Jelly lookalike was more of a bottom. We will be right back with the surprise return of one of our most beloved features from our old podcast.
That's the wrong word. Beloved, really?
We'll be right back.
The Facts and Friends podcast is brought to you by people like you. More and more, corporate America is taking over the podcast scene. Your support helps stave off a complete takeover. Please take a moment to share the podcast with your friends and followers via social media or word of mouth. And don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for helping out. It really does mean a lot.
The only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun.
He's
I can see how
now.
It looks greedy, but I think there's a lot of altruistic properties to it.
They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists.
A lot of people who go into prison straight, and when they come out, they're gay.
I'm not giving up on them, but I'm just saying either convert them or kill them, one or the other.
So long as I am your king, treason shall never go unpunished.
I wish one of your guys had children so I could kick them in their fucking head or stomp on their testicles so you could feel my pain, because that's the pain I have.
I want you off the fucking set, you prick!
We'll do it live! Fuck it! Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
Duh. Winning.
Who has the biggest asshole?
That was the original intro for that segment.
Those are some big assholes.
Those are some pretty mega assholes.
Wow.
This is one of our favorite segments from our old show. In this segment, each of us faces off, asshole to asshole.
That's not facing.
That's not so facing.
That's not facing.
That's not facing off. Okay. Anyway, we put our assholes up against each other to see whose shitty asshole reeks the most. This week, we have the 117th Congress QAnon Caucus edition of Who Has the Biggest Asshole.
Oh, very exciting.
And I wanted to randomly assign each other our assholes, but Judson was insistent that he get to represent his bae, his girl, Lauren Boebert.
Yeah, that's how that went down. Tina actually said, pick a letter.
That's true. G or C.
G or C, yeah. I got C, which is for
Colorado.
Colorado, where Lauren Boebert is from. She is a freshman congresswoman from the state of Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say their 3rd district. That's just from memory.
That is correct. Nope, that is correct.
Hey, all right. So she has an interesting background.
Does she?
She does. She was the owner of the aptly named Shooter's Grill in wait for it, Rifle, Colorado.
Of course.
Yeah.
So is Shooters like Hooters except they carry guns?
That's an excellent question. I don't think so.
Okay.
But maybe.
So it's not a restaurant.
I don't think that it's a restaurant. No, I do not believe that it is a Hooters-esque. I think it's just a bar and grill called Shooters.
But they open carry there.
It's Colorado. I'm sure she open carries there.
They might all actually. I think that's kind of the gimmick.
You think everyone there? They're all open carry.
It's the gimmick.
Your server is carrying a weapon.
That's my understanding, but I don't know for sure.
That is a place I would not eat. Okay.
Why would anyone eat there? Why would you eat in a place where a bunch of people have loaded weapons?
That's a terrible idea.
Right.
Well, she gained notoriety not for owning a restaurant where they carry loaded guns around. An accident went in to happen and having probably an insanely high insurance rate. But she gained notoriety for defying pandemic restrictions and keeping her restaurant open until the sheriff obtained a cease and desist order.
Oh my God.
I guess we heard about her back, in March, April. Was that when that was going down?
Something like that.
So I vaguely recall the Shooter's story being. I didn't catch her name at the time because she was not on my radar then. But obviously now she is. She loves guns like a lot.
Really?
More than Lindsey Graham likes male prostitutes.
No, that's not possible.
Allegedly.
I'm sorry, I have to come in right now. I know how much I love male prostitutes, and I don't think she loves her guns that much.
You really want to admit that on air, Lindsay?
Bye now.
Anyway, she primaried Scott Tipton, the former congressman for that district, because he worked with Democrats.
What?
Unity. Unity.
Oh, they're so full of shit.
They are absolutely full of shit. A quote from her. I'm running for Congress to stand up for our conservative values, address our current representatives' failed promises, and put far-left Democrats back in their place.
It's a little threatening.
Yeah, I'm curious what that place is, what she thinks, where those people belong.
I'm guessing she thinks heaven. Or hell.
The closet, maybe, in some cases. Small unmarked grave in the backyard. I don't know. So obviously this is the QAnon caucus, so she is QAnon friendly.
She's QAnon friendly. She's trying to distance herself from it.
Yeah. But
unlike my asshole.
We'll get to yours in a minute. But there's an ABC News report that divulged that her former campaign manager, Sharona Bishop, had praised the far-right neo-fascist group, the Proud Boys, in a Facebook video last year.
Great.
And it showcased a quote from Boebert during a May appearance on what's described as a QAnon-friendly podcast.
Okay. What did she say?
Boebert said this, quote, everything that I've heard of Q, I hope that this is real because it only means that America is getting stronger and better and people are returning to conservative values, end quote.
Okay.
I guess she's heard things about Q or from Q that I haven't heard because that is not the impression that I was left with.
Me too. I caught wind that their latest theory is that...
Well, they're pushing it back to like March or April.
Oh, is it April now?
It's like March or April. He's gonna suddenly like pop up and declare martial law 2 months after he's left office. Oh like he's been secretly running the country the whole time, and all this other stuff was just a sham.
Oh my God.
All the arrests, all the usual stuff of he was gonna get arrested and executed and all that, bullshit stuff. It's so similar to the prophecies of like end times. Right?
Yeah.
Well, they just move the date.
Q has baked a lot of pre-existing conspiracy theories into their web of conspiracies. It's not a lot of original content in there.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I saw a tweet from her, I think last week. It's an older tweet. No, it's actually not that old. It's from January 10th. And not to help you with your asshole. You know what tweet I'm talking about?
I do. I have it right here.
What did it say?
In the past 5 days, the left has shown us what vile hypocrites they truly are. They are driven by hate, projection, and endless conspiracy theories.
What?
What have I told you, Tino?
You say...
I know some 6-year-old girls who are just begging for it.
Oh, did you mean the other thing? Every accusation is a confession.
Is it an admission or confession? Every time. Every time. She even accuses us of projection, the very thing she's currently doing.
It's tweetception.
It is. It's tweetception. Ugh.
Endless conspiracy theories.
Endless. They're absolutely endless.
Do we have any conspiracy theories?
I mean, we gave all the rest of them to the right now because they've taken the anti-vaxxers.
They took the anti-vaxxers.
Yeah. I think that was our last one. To be fair, there are people who believe some of the, there are 67 sealed indictments against Trump that they're just waiting until he's out of office to unseal and charge him with. And as nice and comforting as that sort of story sounds, it's very unlikely to be true.
Okay.
So that we have our own things that we tell ourselves that we'd like to believe, and there are people that believe them, but not to this level, no.
All right, Judson, don't be holding out on us. What else you got in that big brunette asshole of yours?
She voted to reject the results of a free and fair election.
Well, I kind of assumed that.
Along with 100 and whatever members of her...
Over half of the Republicans in the Congress.
Yeah. The Republican delegation, yeah. It's hardly even worth mentioning, but at the same time, it needs to be brought up at every time we can.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Particularly when they're calling for unity.
Particularly then. And following the riot at the Capitol, her communications director, who had been on the job for basically a Scaramucci, resigned.
We have part of her impeachment speech, by the way.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
Let's hear that.
Where's the accountability for the left? After encouraging and normalizing violence, rather than actually helping American people in this time, we start impeachments that further divide our country. I call bullcrap when I hear the Democrats demanding unity. Sadly, they are only unified in hate.
Oh no, she called bullcrap. What are we gonna do? There's no coming back from that, Tino. Bullcrap has been invoked.
Oh no. We should surrender.
Fuck her.
Seriously, say bullshit. Come on.
Own it.
Have a backbone. You're so tough carrying your gun. She's one of the ones that objected to the metal detectors, right?
Yes, she refused to be searched, I believe. Refused to have her bag searched. Like she would not let her purse or whatever be searched. Probably because she has a gun in it.
She wants to carry a gun on the House floor.
Yep.
It's a terrible idea.
Absolutely awful.
I mean, I heard a congressman this week, a little old and maybe out of it, but he was saying that he was concerned for his life. Like that maybe some of these, she's fringy. She's not a politician.
Right.
She's a little scary, and the next one that we're going to talk about is also a little scary. You have guns for these people, and they think the election was stolen, and they hate the left so much. What's to stop these lunatics from actually shooting another congressperson or 2 or 3 or more on the floor of the House?
Oh, I absolutely agree. And that goes along with the story that the AP just broke about, I don't know, less than an hour ago, that U.S. defense officials say they're worried about an insider attack or other threat from service members involved in securing the inauguration.
Oh, God, why are they having it in public?
So the FBI is going to vet all 25,000 National Guard troops coming into Washington for the event.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And they found that guy who was pretending to be a security person.
They arrested a second guy today.
With an arsenal. They arrested a woman who was pretending that she was in the cabinet. Inauguration officer. These people, they're playing with a full deck.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm pretty familiar with my asshole.
I've heard.
spent a lot of time getting to know my asshole today, and I don't think you have a chance against me.
Well, okay, that was the shot you just got. This part here is the chaser, okay? During the January 6th attack on the Capitol, wherein the attackers wanted to capture and execute Pelosi, among others, Lauren Boebert live tweeted Nancy Pelosi's movements within the Capitol.
Oh my God. That's right, she did.
And that is part of why her comms director resigned, apparently. That plus the, all the other shit.
It really makes you wonder, though, like, is she in on it? And, like, I know she's been accused of giving tours. I don't think that she's necessarily, that's been verified. The tours the day before to far-right people so they know the layout.
Right, it's a little murky still there.
All information right now that we have says that she didn't necessarily do that, so that's not news.
Yeah.
But I know you weren't supposed to tweet at all. Like, they were given instructions by Capitol Police not to use social media during the attack.
Yeah.
So she violated that, and she's tweeting Nancy Pelosi's movements.
She tweeted when they removed the speaker from the chamber.
Oh,
like, okay, that's not something anyone needs to know if they're
She also
not...
tweeted when they were all still in there.
She tweeted they're in there, and then they tweeted when they removed the speaker from the chamber. Like, it's hard to read that as anything other than you're telling the attackers where their target is.
Oh, wow. All right, maybe you have a chance after all. You saved the best for last.
Yeah.
Well, Judson...
Yep.
Go ahead.
No. Please tell us about your asshole. I noticed that you took the bleached asshole.
I did take the bleached asshole.
Please, let's see it.
It's more aesthetically pleasing that way.
I've heard that.
My asshole, Judson, is someone who almost makes Matt Gaetz look sane. Though she is not a bachelor who has a live-in teenage houseboy.
I don't know if that's insane. It's definitely creepy.
That's just not something that's true about her. That might be true about Matt Gaetz.
It is definitely true about Matt Gaetz.
She is a business owner. I think she worked in construction. She's a prolific online vodcaster, but no one cares about that.
Correct.
Let's make like Lindsey Graham's tongue and plunge right into my asshole.
Oh my God. I'm going to have to stop letting you write these.
What's that?
I'm going to have to stop letting you write these.
I thought you wrote that one. My asshole is Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm sure you guessed it. And I'm, for the most part, I'm going to let her do all of her talking for herself.
That is probably a wise plan on your part.
Okay. Here is Marjorie Taylor Greene on QAnon. By the way, Marjorie Taylor Greene she is far more like deeply into Q than Lauren Boebert.
She's straight up a Q person.
She is.
Q is a patriot. According to him, many in our government are actively worshiping Satan, or they call Moloch. I mean, is it going to be true that the child pedophilia in the elites in the Washington, D.C., is that what we're really going to see come out?
No, it's not. That's not what's going to happen.
So she clearly is all in on Q.
Yeah.
And he's a patriot.
He's a patriot because he said so.
It's gonna get a lot worse from here on out.
I see the titles that you've got here. So yeah, I'm.
What's the next title, Judson?
I believe the next title is Green on Blacks and Hispanics.
That's right.
The generations of Black and Hispanic men, do you want to know what holds them down? Gangs. Being in gangs and dealing drugs is what holds them down. The lack of education is what holds them down.
So, because blacks and Hispanics are all in gangs and have no education, that's what holds them down.
It's weird. I think racist stereotypes hold them down, actually.
You mean like the ones she was just espousing?
Like the ones she was just talking about, yeah.
Okay. Well, she dives a little deeper into blacks. Oh, God, my phrasing is off this show.
Should be offended to hear you say that.
I gotta tell you, anybody's unemployment has to do with bad choices and personal responsibility. And again, that does not have a skin color. I know a ton of white people that are as lazy and sorry and,
Careful.
Probably worse than black people I know.
Okay, she did it.
She did it. Oh no, Marjorie.
And you can tell, like, in her brain, she's like, I don't want to say that they're as lazy as black people.
But that's what I have to say, because that's the analogy I'm drawing here.
Speaking of bad choices, she has...
Wait, someone's unemployment can be due to bad personal responsibility or bad choices, but they aren't necessarily the person's bad choices.
Right.
If your CEO makes a shitty business deal and your company goes under, that's not your fucking fault.
Right. Your boss insists on you coming to work at Shooter's Grill during the pandemic.
Yeah. And you catch COVID despite doing everything you can personally. That's your boss's shitty decision, not yours. Fuck you.
Not to give props to your asshole. Leave your asshole out of this.
Yeah.
I brought your asshole into it.
You did.
So, speaking of bad choices, she took a photo with a white supremacist. She floated a conspiracy theory that the Las Vegas shooting massacre was a plot to abolish the Second Amendment. And she called one of the student activists from Parkland High School Little Hitler.
What?
A kid, yeah.
Which one?
I don't know. There are a lot of bad choices that Marjorie Taylor Greene has made. You've heard some of them, like recording herself saying these things and then putting them on the internet. That's also a bad choice.
That's a bad choice that we share, I feel like. Though,
and she got a job for it. She got a job for it.
So is that the goal?
I guess. Here she is on Confederate statues.
So one day she'll be a Confederate statue.
So I do agree those statues shouldn't be taken down. They're part of our history. We should learn from our history. We don't erase it. But that doesn't make me a racist because I say leave the statue up there. If I were black people today and I walked by one of those statues, I would be so proud.
Oh, God.
That makes you a racist. Also, the things you said about black and Hispanic people earlier makes you a racist.
Pretty much. Well, she knows a lot about Muslims, too.
I bet she does.
Apparently, Judson, there is a Muslim invasion, per Marjorie Taylor Greene, into our government.
There is an Islamic invasion into our government offices right now. Okay, they are. You saw after midterm elections, we saw so many Muslims elected. I don't know the exact number, but there were quite a few.
There were two.
We had that woman out of Minnesota. Now she's going into Congress and she's got to wear a head covering. You know, they want to put their hand on the Quran and be sworn in. No, you have to be sworn in on the Bible.
Bullshit.
But we have an Islamic invasion into our government offices.
Okay.
You can be sworn in on the Constitution or anything you want to be sworn in on.
Yes.
That's because we have freedom of religion in this country, despite your Christian Sharia attempts.
Absolutely.
I really thought that she was going to say that all of the people attacking the Capitol were Muslims invading the Capitol when you started off that clip.
No, this is a little older.
This is a while ago, apparently, yeah.
The 2018 midterms.
Yeah.
Well, Greene knows a lot about Muslims, and I thought I would share all of her erudite teachings on Muslims.
Oh, yes. Please, enlighten us.
They brutalize women. They throw gay people off of buildings. It is not a place for justice. No. This is a place where the men over there, they can have sex with anybody they want. They have sex with little boys, little girls, multiple women. They marry as many women as they want. They marry their sisters, their cousins. I'm sorry. That is not dignity. That is not justice. That is not compassion. That's not love for humanity.
That is not accurate.
None of that is accurate.
There are certainly marriage customs throughout the world that you would find relatively shocking.
Yes.
But that is not exclusive to the Muslim world, or are they particularly bad offenders compared to other places?
There are plenty of Christians that have sex with children,
that
have sex with goats, that have multiple wives.
True story.
Everything she listed is not exclusive to Muslims whatsoever. But she does, I mean, she has a very clean, logical mind. So she sums up...
Wait, what?
Motherfucker, are you out of your damn mind?
She sums up her thoughts on Muslims this way.
Now, yes, I'll say this, we have freedom of religion in this country that protects anyone to have any kind of religion that they want. And that's great. That's one of our freedoms, right?
Where's the butt? I want to hear the butt.
It's who has the biggest asshole, Judson? The butt is just a delivery system. It was always there.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, anyone that is a Muslim that believes in Sharia law does not belong in our government. They don't. Muslims are not being held back in any way. That's what our Constitution, our Bill of Rights guarantees everyone equality and justice. But what you people want is special treatment. You want to rise above us, and that's what we're against.
Okay, she just said that Muslims should not be allowed to serve in the government.
Right.
And then she said Muslims are not being held back.
Right, yes. That totally makes sense with her keen logical mind.
All right. I don't know that we need more, but I'm going to pile on.
But feel free. My poor asshole. I just... She can't take much more.
Well, much like the Q-Shaman lookalike porn star's asshole, it's getting more. You're not going to believe this, Judson, but Marjorie Taylor Greene is actually for impeachment.
I would like to announce on behalf of the American people, we have to make sure that our leaders are held accountable. We cannot have a president of the United States that is willing to abuse the power of the office of the presidency and be easily bought off by foreign governments, foreign Chinese energy companies, Ukrainian energy companies. So on January 21st, I will be filing articles of impeachment on Joe Biden.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you were on to me there. She's for impeachment of Joe Biden.
That tracks. It really started out really, I mean, if you didn't know what was coming, it started out like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then just takes a real hard left turn.
Hard right turn.
Hard right turn. You're right. Yeah. It's a real hard right turn. Yeah.
I believe just last week she still thought that Trump was going to be, or insisted that Trump was going to be president and it would be inaugurated on the 20th.
So you're saying this is the concession speech?
I guess she's conceding now. Well, I want to close out because this is running a little long. I do agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene on something.
Do tell.
I don't even know why we put the idiots on the news. Why do we even give them a microphone or a camera? Because they're the idiots of our nation.
This has been a grocery. Wait, this was the biggest asshole. Well, that is my asshole, Judson. It's MGT versus the Boebert.
Yep.
And we will reveal the winner right after this break.
Hey FNFers, Judson here. Tino and I are always looking to interact more with our fantastic audience. If you have questions, ideas, complaints, or just need a friend, you can reach out to us at factsandfriends@gmail.com. That's facts, the letter N, friends at Gmail. And if you want to make a more intimate connection, I'm on Twitter at thefaultandmyarse. Again, the fault, the letter N, my arse. And you can find Tino at Uncle Tortilla. We can't wait to hear from you.
All right, Judson, we need to announce the winner of who has the biggest asshole.
Okay.
Who do you think of our two assholes, Judson, is bigger?
As much as I want my asshole to be the biggest, I think you won this round.
Okay, that's fair. You go with the bleached. You like the bleached look.
I hear it's aesthetically pleasing.
It is. I agree with you. I think I pulled it out. Yes, I agree. Marjorie Taylor Greene, you are the biggest asshole this week. Congratulations.
Potential to extend her streak, though, I think.
Oh, they both have potential. Like, Boebert could come back next week.
Oh, that'd be fun. Revisit this in a couple of months and see.
Let's after Boebert shot someone on the House floor.
Exactly.
Then you might win.
Exactly.
Well, we are still getting our new show off the ground, Judson, and we could really use our listeners' help in doing so.
We absolutely could.
We really could. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the show, and if you could, leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. But most importantly, just tell your friends about us. Suggest they subscribe and download as well, and that would be fantastic. The more people you tell, the better. You can retweet our episode announcements on Twitter at Facts and Friends, Facts the letter N in Friends. And you can also follow us at Facts and Friends on Facebook, where we also will share our episode posts. It'd be great if you could share those as well. All of those things would really help us grow our audience and keep us on the air, so thank you very much in advance. You can find me on Twitter rarely at Uncle Tortilla. And where can they find you, Judson?
You can find me at The Fault and My Arse. Fault, the letter N, my arse.
Absolutely. And before we get to our little closed topic here, as I told Judson when we were talking about doing this show, there is a terrifyingly real possibility that we will need to record a show on Wednesday night.
Yeah, let's hope not. But
we really hope not. We hope we'll just keep the shows on the regular cadence, talk about the pardons, talk about the inauguration in the next show, among other whatever else happens. But we're really worried that something really bad is going to happen because they're insisting on having the inauguration publicly. And
terrible idea.
I've heard a few people say it, including Katie Couric. If you don't, it's an important symbol. The bad guys win. Like, bullshit. You know when the bad guys win? If they blow up the inauguration.
Yeah.
If people die because you had it publicly, that's when they win. Have it privately. Look, it's COVID anyway. You could use that as cover.
Exactly. there's no reason to have this publicly. Just be like, you know what? It's not worth the risks of infection. You can leave aside the risks of homegrown terrorism and just do it privately.
Please
stream it. We'll watch it on Zoom. Come on.
Well, our close topic, Judson, is Rudolph Giuliani.
Yes.
We know him for many things, but most recently we know him for this. Oh, well, I guess most recently we know him for not getting paid by Donald Trump, but I think we assumed that from the start.
If we're wrong, we will be made fools of. But if we're right, a lot of them will go to jail. So, let's have trial by combat.
It was surprisingly self-aware of Giuliani to start that bit off with, if we're wrong, we'll be made fools of. And that's what happened.
Yes. So why did I decide to play that again, Judson? I think you know.
Is it because of the trial by combat quote?
It is.
Yeah, because Giuliani took a little bit of flack for the trial by combat line.
Did he?
And he tried to defend himself. He said, quote, I was referencing the kind of trial that took place for Tyrion in that very famous documentary about fictitious medieval England. When Tyrion, who is a very small man, is accused of murder, he didn't commit murder, he can't defend himself, and he hires a champion to defend him. But that very famous documentary about fictitious medieval England.
Oh my God.
There's so much wrong in those,
there is
8 words.
There's a lot more wrong with it. That's the most wrong part. A documentary about fictitious medieval England. Okay.
It's not how documentaries work.
No, that isn't. It didn't take place in England.
Yeah, it
was certainly fictitious.
It's not a documentary. It's a.
But who is Tyrion in this? Is that Trump, the very small man? Is that Trump?
I guess so. He's very small. Yeah,
and he is accused of murder. But isn't Trump the one accusing Democrats of?
It's hard to keep up.
I made this.
The answer that I gave you is they didn't bother to interview a single witness.
The fart heard around fictitious medieval England, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for listening. We will be back next week, hopefully not sooner, hopefully on our regular schedule, because nothing completely terrible happened and the nation isn't burning. Until then,
it's a perfectly normal Wednesday. That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah. Thank you all very much for listening again. We will talk to you next week. Take care.
Take care, everyone.
Oh, yep.
Yep.
To Nancy Pelosi, she's a hypocrite, she's an anti-American, and we're gonna kick that bitch out of Congress. I don't even know why we put the idiots on the news. Why do we even give them a microphone or a camera? Because they're the idiots of our nation.